It's now time for A Closer Look with Lennox Gasper, a program which takes an in-depth look at the government's works in and around communities in Region 10 and how these works are impacting the lives of residents.
Hello there and welcome to A Closer Look. I'm your host, Lennox Gasper, and on our program today we'll be taking a closer look at the National Toshao Conference Conference 2022. Following a 2 years absence owing to the COVID-19 pandemic, on Tuesday, the National Toshao Conference Conference 2022 opened at the Arthur Chung Conference Center. The conference brings together indigenous leaders from over 212 hinterland communities across Guyana, serving as a platform for indigenous leaders to engage the government and stakeholders on issues pertaining to the development of their communities.
Today, after 2 years, the leaders are meeting once again in the beautiful city of Georgetown. We all know that we have not met due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but here we are today, and I'm very pleased and happy to welcome all of you. The meeting is significant since it affords the opportunity to have a consultative conversation between the government and you, the leaders, on the challenges which affect your people and villages, while you share your village development agenda and priorities. As such, I expect that the 5 days will be truly interactive. All of Guyana is aware of the aftermath of the attempts to derail democracy and the legacy of underachievements in all sectors of our country, which demanded adjustments and required the development and deployment of resources to bring immediate relief to our nation's population and to reverse such stark situation. Amerindian villages and its people did not escape the onslaught of neglect over the 5 years that we were not in government, and yes, our government's responses to arrest the situation was required, and our government responded immediately as we took the reins of power in our country. The theme of the conference signals the approach for securing Amerindian development in the current fast-paced transformation to modernize Guyana towards a sustainable, prosperous future under the philosophy of His Excellency, One Guyana. His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Ali addressed the gathering. President Ali also announced a 50% increase in stipend for Toshao's senior councillors of Amerindian communities, and regional councillors will also benefit from these increases.
We're building the infrastructure, the road network, the connectivity to allow for that tourism to take off, to support mining, to support community development. I can go on all morning to talk to you about the investment the Ministry of Army and Affairs is making directly, more than $6 billion. The investment we are making from the Prime Minister's office in ensuring you have access to power supply, in ensuring you have access to ICT hubs, 30,000 new solar units, household units coming in the country, off-grid systems we are building, small hydro projects, billions of dollars of investment to improve quality of life across hinterland communities. The Public Works, Road Program, Ministry of Local Government, tens of billions of dollars invested in giving you better infrastructure. But there are also some direct things that we have done. The old age pension, benefiting almost 5,600 persons in the hinterland. We've increased that already in less than 2 years to $28,000. And I want to assure you that the promise we made will be kept and you will receive that increase. We've increased and reinstituted the uniform grants, now $5,000 for every child. More than $200 million transfer just in this uniform grant to children in hinterland communities. We have restored the $25,000 grant to every single school child, an investment of more than $2 billion in less than 2 years. We have distributed almost $1 billion in hinterland communities in public assistance. We have distributed more than 1,200 empowerment grants with small loans and small grants to assist hinterland communities. Under the WIN program, we have trained close to 150 indigenous persons. We are now training people in skills development program, in the housing program. We are spending billions of dollars. We are expanding the hinterland housing program. Persons with difficult circumstances, we are supporting them in the hinterland communities. We have rehired the 2,000 community service officers that the last government sent home. And this might be important for those who keep records. Out of that 2,000 community workers, more than 1,500 are females. That is another headline that we should celebrate. More than 1,500 are female. More than $300 million in presidential grants, benefiting, that is this year alone, benefiting 220 hinterland communities, and $1.7 billion transferred to hinterland communities for economic empowerment projects. All of this in less than 2 years. I can go through every single sector to help you in your transportation needs, whether it's ATVs, tractors, pickups, ambulance. We've invested more than $1 billion in less than 2 years. Outside of all of this, we have transferred more than $700 million directly to more than 28,000 families in a 25,000 COVID grant we give. This is outside all of this. We have transferred hundreds of millions of dollars in flood relief. We are presently distributing another $25,000 for every household, hinterland and riverine household. These are the type of investment that we have made. And these are the investments that we'll continue to make your life better and to give you a better quality of life. I know this will come up, so I want to deal with it, because we had promised it in the budget also. I want to now announce that we will move the Toshao stipend. You have to clap before I tell you. We will move the Toshao stipend from $30,000 that you presently receive to $45,000. $5,000 short of what you asked for, $50,000. You will get it before, don't worry. But as the Vice President would remind you, we still have quite a few Toshao conferences to go. The deputy Toshaos will move from 20,000 to 30,000, a 50% increase. In this case, it is not the cabinet that is receiving 50 and 100% increases. It's the Toshao, the leaders of your communities. Senior councillors will move from $15,000 to $25,000. And just to avoid a barrage of letters in the newspapers, because you know, when we give the $25,000 for hinterland and riverine communities, you wouldn't believe the amount of letters I've received. Let me be clear on this. In order to continue to improve our systems and to make people more accountable and to keeping with what we would have committed to do, every single regional councillor in the administrative regions of this country will see an improvement in their stipend from $10,000 to $30,000. These are commitments we have made and commitments we have fulfilled.
While addressing the over 212 Amerindian leaders, President Ali reaffirmed the PPPC's administration's commitment to the development and enhancement of the living standard of Guyana's First People.
Every successive PPP civic government was to do the best we can do for Amerindian communities and Amerindian people. Not just because we want to do it, but because you are no different from the rest of the population, and you must be treated in the same respect, with the same dignity and honor like all of the population. Those are the fundamental principles that we adhere to, that we support. So, like my dear sister said in her poetry, we will preserve what is rightfully ours. Very powerful words. Very, very powerful words. And that is what this government has done from day one. We have worked in preserving everything that can uplift your life, that can give you a better life, that can give you a better community. But in preserving all of what is in the earth, in preserving all of what we have to also ensure that we sustainably use what we have as a country to transform your life. Like her poetry said, there was a time when you spent, the women especially in these communities, sacrificed so much. They had to spend their days getting water, their days tending to farms. They did not have the luxury of time to get an education, not because they were not brilliant, but because the circumstances did not allow them. That is why the balance is important. We had to use the revenues from the very earth, from the very environment, from this very country, to make the necessary investment that allows you now to see the continuous improvement of your life, that allows you now to celebrate having children in top schools in this country, having children in universities, having high levels of primary education, high levels of secondary education. Your life and the preservation of your culture does not mean in any way, shape, or form that the transformation of your communities and the transformation of your families must be static.
Ministers from all the sectors were in attendance. Toshaos were given the opportunity to let their voices be heard as well as have meaningful discussion with the ministers as they make representation on behalf of their people. Taking a closer look at developments within the Amerindian communities, our cameras caught up with a few of the Toshaos from Region 10 to get their thoughts regarding government's initiative for Amerindian development.
Well, I'm here to attend the conference, the NTC conference. I'm here to represent my people way back home, and everything is going so smooth at the moment so far. We had a productive morning, and the president made his speech, and it was very, very good at the moment. Everything is going quite well.
Well, we noted that he had announced that coming out of this conference, he has made the announcement to increase by 50% the stipend of the council Toshao. How does that make you feel? What are your thoughts?
Well, as a government, they care for every Amerindian person or Toshao, and I'm very happy that that we have a government that cares for us, a president that cares for us, that could raise our stipend a little bit. So it's something because as Toshao, we have family to take care of, we have children to take care of, we don't have like in terms of internet bills or water bills, but we have transportation bills. To go from Linden to Malali is a very costly transportation. When you go from Linden to Malali, it's like about 40 to 50,000. So the 45,000 is coming good in terms of transportation.
And the president also asked that everyone here be frank and candid, open, because we're together here to form a new path forward, and he would want to have all Toshao to basically make their input. What are some of the things or issues that are pressing on your mind that you would like to have answered and maybe sorted today?
Well, as the Toshao of Malali, this might sound like a kind of joke, but in Malali presently there's water right around the school. The playground is in water, so it might sound like a kind of joke, but we use it in the rainy season, like we could use it as a swimming pool, and in the dry season we play cricket on the ground. So that is one of my main issue that I'm going to bring to this conference. The attention is a playground and to relocate our primary school to higher grounds, because in terms of the nursery children, it is very unsafe. It is unsafe for them at the moment. We know schools are closing, but we are calling on the government to make a speedy input into Malali development.
August 2nd will mark 2 years since the government has been in office, and there has been a lot of inroads and advantage for Amerindian people. Could you tell us of some of those advantages, and especially now that you are also benefiting, at least most of the riverine communities are benefiting from the $25,000 grant. That's the most recent, but there's been a lot of others. Maybe tell us about those and about the recent.
Well, coming up to the last election, they say when you plant your seed, it's to produce. And that is what I've done. I put my life on the line at the last election. I campaigned for the PPP, and presently now I'm seeing what it's all about. Because, for instance, we have a new road that is pushing from the 35 Marlborough Road to Malali. We also have a new internet hub that is going up presently. We also benefiting from the CSO program. We also benefit from the $25,000 cash grant. We also benefited from the disabled children. So there's a lot of development is taking place with this new administration. I'm very happy that, I joined the PPP at the right time, and it is paying off for me as a Toshao and for our community there back in Malala.
If it wasn't for the PVP achieving or win the election, achieve back the government
Speak a little bit louder.
of the country, I would not have taken the opportunity that I take. Because I know it's a government that you can work with, and people that you can talk to, they always reach out to us. So I want to join hands with them as I was trying to explain to you earlier, that I want to come into them, let me work on these accountability issues that we had. Because the reason for saying this is that a lot of time we find oppositions generally in the village and in politics. They pick up these maybe mistakes or not knowing of the village council and turn it around and make a big issue and keep back the progress of the village. Now, what we want to do is set a structure system in place so that we can get rid
Speak
of
a
these.
little bit loud for me, because I'm having a challenge here when you hear, and
Okay.
I'm sure the camera and
Yeah.
the folks that are listening will also.
Yeah, it's a real challenge for get these people to understand, like, you have an issue. Now when you have the issue, now you would the times process it take to resolve that, it keep the village back from moving forward.
Very well. So tell me something, what are some of the initiatives that this government would have started that your community would have been able to benefit from?
Well, presently we receive a tractor from the Army Ministry, and because of the high flooding, we embark on no large agriculture yet, but our way forward is with agriculture. We received some stuff from the Agriculture Ministry soon to take office, so I know agriculture is the way forward.
How about the cash grant, the 25,000? How about the 100,000 for the disabled? Talk to me about those initiatives and the power supply in terms of solar energy and this.
Yeah, well,
ICT hubs. Talk to me
our
about
village didn't receive as yet the cash grants as yet, but maybe after the NTC, then they would go in and deliver. Presently, we face in a situation in the village where we normally pay RUSEL for power, and it's 1.6 is the electricity bill, which we receive some revenue from them, but when you pay the 1.6, we left it like 1.8. And to run the affairs of the village is very difficult at times because we're paying for electricity service, which we have to maintain also ourselves, which is very hard.
All right, so tell me about some of the things that you're pleased with and admire in terms of the programs that this administration has been pushing.
Yes, it's very great. It's very great. And I want to work with this government and see how much more we can embark on.
Some of the challenges I have been facing so far is like one, transportation to move from point A to B in terms of meetings and other occasional stuff that we engage in as Toshaos. Transportation, like I mentioned, is one. In terms of education, my upper part of the village, which is Great Falls, we're facing a problem now based on teachers, and it had teachers' quarter was built since in 2006, never has been furnished as yet. So I raised this issue on numerous occasions with the RTC and also Minister herself in the month of March 2022, right? So they gave me some calls and stuff on it, but I'm just hoping to get this through and let my voice be heard on this platform, or the largest platform of the Toshaos of Guyana, right? So I'm just here now looking forward for my voice to be heard in terms of education, health. And when it comes to health now, on my part, I'm very much comfortable to this point of time what is happening in terms of Dr. Harris, Dr. Samuels. I must compliment them on the recent visit we had just about 3 days ago up in Great Falls, right? So I'm really appreciated about that.
Lovely. Could you tell us a little bit more of what you have benefited? I know the government, since entering office, has made a lot of inroads and investment into the areas of education, health, infrastructure, agriculture within riverine communities. Talk to us about areas of where you would have benefited from these various sectors. The community, I should say.
Oh, great. First, we will start with the communication part, technology, information technology. When it comes to the Internet Hub, so far the Great Falls Internet Hub is approximately 95% in completion. We have the second phase of work to be done on the Internet Hub in Great Falls, which will be soon be completed, right? So, it has been a little lengthy process, but we're getting there. We're getting there. That is one. When it comes to our login, which is one of the main economic income in our community, we are now on the Woodmiser, the LT15 that we bought last year, December. We received it from Farfan and Mendes. So within a couple of months' time, we would get started on this project that the community will benefit not in only one areas but in wide variety, and such as prefabs and other materials that will be benefiting the people, not only in the village, but I would like it to go abroad. Dr. Harris and Dr. Samuels, they have been doing a very great job in our community so far. Like most times, if we have an emergency, we'd have to come to Linden, which is the closest hospital to our village, which is 58 miles away. It is close but yet far. So yeah, they're making it really, really great and easy for us when they come and do the visits and stuff like that, you know. So
what are some of the things that you most admire about this government and the way this administration has been governing?
Well, as of this point, I'm 13 months in office as a Toshao. I never have been around these areas by no means. Was just listening and hearing and stuff like that. But so far, I must compliment them on certain things I have been asked for, and within a few months, I got them. Right, in terms of like my road, the village access road, we had it over a number of years was like in sand and stuff like that. And the 9th of May, we completed, my council and I, we completed with the company, RIM company. They help us also on the road. So we got it direct 1 year in office as a new council, we completed the road, right? But we're getting there, we're getting there.
The conference is expected to run for 5 days, and focus will be placed on improving access to government services such as health, education, land titling, demarcation, security, and infrastructure, among others. The conference also saw the election of a new executive, which will last for 3 years. The last election was in 2018. That has brought us to the end of A Closer Look. I've been your host, Lennox Gasper. Until next time, thanks for watching.